Ever wonder who's responsible for, like, all that crazy realism in your favorite player film?
Right. Like, how do they make it all look so believable?
Exactly. So today's deep dive takes us behind the scenes into the world of a theatrical and film prop master.
Oh, fun. It's way more dynamic than people realize.
I bet. I feel like most people probably just think it's about finding cool antique furniture or something.
What? But it's so much more than that. Our sources this time, a deep dive career guide, some info on AI-powered job hunting, and a peek at a platform called RoleCatcher kind of paint this picture of a career that's like artistry and organization all rolled into one.
Okay, I'm officially intrigued. But before we get lost in a prop warehouse somewhere, let's start with the basics. What does a prop master actually do?
So think of them as like the unsung heroes of authenticity. Our career guide describes them as being responsible for every single object an actor interacts with on a stage or film set.
Wow, everything.
Everything. From sourcing a 1920s typewriter to making sure like a breakaway chair breaks on cue and safely, of course.
Oh, right. I didn't even think about the safety aspect of it.
It's huge. They're basically orchestrating illusions, sometimes with real fire, and making it all look effortless.
Okay, that's way more intense than I imagined. Suddenly, I'm picturing a prop master as this blend of, like, historical researcher, safety inspector, and maybe even a little bit of magician.
A very apt description. And the magician metaphor really rings true when you consider the career progression. Like, you don't just walk out of school and onto a blockbuster film set, wand in hand.
Right, everyone starts somewhere, even the masters of illusion. So where does one even begin their journey into the world of props?
Well, it often starts with a lot of, well, grunt work as a prop assistant, but don't let the title fool you. This isn't about fetching coffee. Our source emphasizes that even at this entry level, you're building a foundation in the meticulous detail this job demands.
Oh, I bet. Give us the inside scoop. What does a prop assistant actually do all day?
Imagine, like, you have to make sure that every single book on a massive library set is from the right time period, or tracking down a vintage rotary phone because the script says they have to use one. You're basically a theatrical detective in training, always on the hunt for that perfect object.
Okay, now that you mention it, I do recall reading something about that in our research. It definitely sounds like you'd need an incredible eye for detail to thrive in that kind of environment. No cutting corners on historical accuracy, huh?
Absolutely not. This career path demands a really unique blend of creativity and practicality. You're not just placing objects, you're building a world, piece by carefully chosen piece.
You've painted quite the picture of a prop assistant's life. It's like being on a never-ending scavenger hunt.
Right. Only the stakes are like a believable historical drama instead of bragging rights.
Exactly. And as you progress, the stakes only get higher, right? What comes after prop assistant?
So usually the next step up is prop coordinator. And at that point, you're not just finding the objects anymore, you're basically orchestrating their every move.
Orchestrating their moves. Now that sounds even more demanding. What does that even entail?
Think of it kind of like air traffic control, but for props. You're like the
Hmm.
traffic controller. You're
Yeah.
working with the prop master, overseeing the prep, the organization, making sure every prop runs smoothly during a performance. I think there was an example in one of our sources. A coordinator had to manage something crazy, like 200 unique props for just one production.
200 props. I can barely keep track of my keys. What kinds of things?
We're talking everything from like antique silverware to a functioning gramophone.
Wow, that's a lot to juggle. Especially when you consider the pressure of a live performance. I imagine one misplaced teacup could throw off an entire scene.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just about organization, it's also about thinking ahead, and anticipating problems. What if an actor drops a prop mid-scene and it breaks?
Oh no.
Right. Or what if a piece of furniture has to get moved in the dark during a blackout? Got to be ready for anything.
It's funny, for all the times I've enjoyed a seamless scene change in a play, I've never once stopped to think about the prop master frantically whispering cues in the dark.
Right. It's a whole other world behind the scenes. And that actually brings us to a really crucial aspect of the job that our career guide really emphasized: safety.
Oh, right. We talked a bit about pyrotechnics earlier, but even props that seem harmless could be risky if they're not handled correctly, right?
Exactly. Remember that story about the antique hand mirror that shattered before opening night?
Oh, yeah.
Imagine if that happened during the performance.
Yike. Someone could get seriously hurt.
Exactly. A good prop master has to consider not just how the prop looks, but also its weight, how durable it is, any potential dangers.
They need like a sixth sense for danger. Speaking of challenges, I know our source mentioned some of the not-so-glamorous signs of this career, too. The long hours, tight budgets, performance pressure. It's not all feather bows and fake mustaches, is it?
Definitely not. Like many artistic fields, a career in prop mastery, it takes serious dedication, and resilience. You got to be able to roll with the punches.
For sure. So with all that in mind, how does anyone even break into this field, let alone thrive in it? The competition has got to be fierce.
You're telling me. That's where RoleCatcher comes in. They've got these really cool tools that can give aspiring prop masters a real leg up, I think.
Okay, I am all ears. You know I love a good how-to when it comes to navigating the job market. What's RoleCatcher all about?
So imagine this, a platform that not only pulls together job postings from all over the place, but also uses AI to actually analyze your CV. It can even tell you what to improve.
Wait, hold on. It's like having a personal career coach and a superpowered search engine all in one.
Oh.
I'm sold. Tell me more about this AI analysis feature.
So say you're applying for a prop coordinator position. You upload your CV to RoleCatcher, and their AI compares it to what's listed in the job description. It'll let you know if you're using the right keywords, whether your skills section is good, even if your formatting's not working.
That's amazing. It's like getting a sneak peek at what the employers are actually looking for. No more sending your resume into the void.
It gets even better. Remember those stories we were discussing about prop masters needing to think quickly and solve problems on the spot?
Yeah?
RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you prepare for those tough interview questions.
Whoa. Next level stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not just about having a great CV. It's about being able to nail those make or break interview questions too. How does that work?
So they have this massive database of interview questions, over 120,000 person. But the cool thing is, they're not just random generic questions. They're specific to certain careers and skills.
So no more of those vague, tell me about a time you failed questions that seem to pop up in every interview ever.
Nope. RoleCatcher's AI looks at the job description, figures out what skills are important, and then comes up with a list of likely interview questions.
It's like having a crystal ball. Knowing you're prepared for those curveballs can make you so much more confident during an interview. But you mentioned earlier that behavioral questions are super important for aspiring prop masters. Why is that?
Well, our career guide really stressed how important soft skills are in this line of work. Being detail-oriented and organized isn't enough. You also have to be a good communicator, a team player.
And a master problem solver.
Yes, often under pressure, too.
Just like when that antique mirror shattered right before opening night.
Exactly. So RoleCatcher's AI interview prep, it helps you get ready for those tell me about a time you faced a challenge questions. And it does it by giving you scenarios that are relevant to being a prop master.
That makes a lot of sense. It sounds incredibly helpful.
It is. You can even record your answers to the practice questions, and their AI will give you feedback on your delivery, your content, even your body language.
Wow, it's like having a personal acting coach, but for job interviews.
Yeah.
I can see how that kind of prep could be a game changer. It's not just about finding any job. It's about finding the right job, one that you're passionate about and one that really makes use of your unique talents.
And that's what makes RoleCatcher such a perfect fit for our conversation today.
Honestly, it sounds like they've thought of everything. Finding the jobs, acing the interview, even highlighting those soft skills that are so important.
I know, right? And it doesn't stop there. They've also got tons of resources for career development, like thousands of career guides, workshops to build your skills. They even have this database of millions of employers.
It's like the ultimate launch pad for anyone who's serious about a career in theater. And we've been talking about prop masters, but I'm guessing their resources cover all aspects of the industry, right?
Totally. It doesn't matter if you want to be in the spotlight as an actor or if you're more into the behind-the-scenes stuff like lighting design or costumes. They seem to have something for everyone.
You know, it's funny. Our little deep dive into the world of props has uncovered this whole other resource. It's like those times you stumble across something amazing when you're not even looking for it.
Absolutely. And speaking of discoveries, we can't wrap up our exploration without giving our listeners something to think about.
So true. I was just thinking that. Okay, listeners, here's a question for you. Think about your favorite play or movie. Now, what's the one prop that really sticks out in your mind?
Yeah, what was it about that prop? Was it super realistic or detailed? Did it, have a special meaning in the story?
Or maybe it was just the way the actor used it that made it so memorable.
Right. Sometimes the smallest details are the ones that make the biggest impact.
Couldn't agree more. And taking a moment to really appreciate those details, whether it's a prop or even just how smoothly a scene changes, it makes you appreciate all the work that goes on behind the scenes.
Well said. And who knows, maybe today's deep dive has inspired someone to learn more about the unsung heroes of the stage, those amazing prop masters who use objects to bring stories to life.
And if you do want to learn more about this career path, or even if you're just curious about what else is out there in the world of theater, check out RoleCatcher.
You never know. You might just find your next passion.
This has been so much fun, a fascinating peek behind the curtain. Until next time, dear listeners, keep exploring, keep those questions coming, and never, ever underestimate the power of a well-placed prop.